you called it. Obviously, the first Pro League day back, first broadcast, first ALGS competition. So working out some of the kinks. Appreciate the patience, y'all. As always, much love to every single one of you tuning in right now. Hope you're enjoying the action at home. Every single, I know, I don't even have chat up, but I already know we got Leo with the lion in the chat. We got Birdie in the chat. We got Kylie, moderator extraordinaire. Big shout out to every single one of y'all, the mainstays and the entire Apex community tuning in and supporting the ALGS. Much love as always. It was awesome, by the way, at TwitchCon, having a chance to meet up with the entire community. Last time we met up at TwitchCon in 2019, it was like 50 people. This time it was like 250 plus, if not even more than that. It was awesome to see the entire Apex community coming through. But hey, this is game 3. This is our last game on Stormpoint. Vicky, we'll be heading to World's Edge right after this one. You started to talk a little bit about the zones and rotates in the pre-show with Evan. Any other thoughts in terms of what we're going to see here in game 3?
I'm expecting our preseason qualifier teams to continuously pop off, because that's what they have really been doing. Not only did we talk about 3 Muppets before, but we're even seeing consistency for our lower end squads that were invited, like Turkish Stars, that have consistently been in the top 10. We've been seeing a lot of these teams really pop off. Corpa even at one point coming in for a great timing on the third party. Turkish Stars have been able to not only stay consistent, but the likes of Navi have been able to do the same thing, getting second place in game number 2. But let's get started here. Let's not waste any more time. Game number 3 here on Stormpoint, the last game that we're gonna have on Stormpoint before we move on to World's Edge. I'm wondering here, John, are we gonna see the consistency of team compositions between the Watson and Newcastle like we have been seeing before we move on to World's Edge, or are we gonna see the same thing happen on World's Edge?
I think we'll see a lot less Watson on display on World's Edge. You'll see a lot less Watson and Newcastle overall. Expect a little bit of Caustic might be thrown in. You see some Caustic teams being played on World's Edge throughout. Seer will obviously continue to be a mainstay, as well as we have an antenna hotspot. So it's going to be the rookie squad in Bitfix Gaming that will get themselves the hotspot loot. And meanwhile, let's take a look at the map here. So now we get a nice overall view of all of the teams, where everyone's landing here, and where the zone or ring is going to pull. And it's going to be yet another center zone here. So keep an eye on Antenna. Strong chance that Antenna is the late game end zone, and BFG will be the best positioned. Ascend dropping right in Jurassic Park, just northwest of that. This is a great zone for them as well. I think they were playing Newcastle, Vicky, so with Newcastle, if they can get themselves some of the Antenna real estate, they'll be in a really, really good spot. I think Ascend and BFG stock way up based on where this zone is. Any other thoughts on what we're going to see in terms of rotates in this initial
I just really like this circle, because it could be a free-for-all here, because we could see it pull more towards the east side, towards Antenna, like you were mentioning before. Would be even more chaotic if it could be by that choke point between fish farms into Shipfall, that Gale Station spot that we've seen before. I do think it's going to pull a little bit more north from there, though. But my eyes are on that beacon that's north of Barometer, and we're south of Ascend, where you could get the information of not only where this next circle is going to be pulling, but where you want to situate yourself in. And for Ascend, they're in the perfect spot, because they could take the 50-50 how they want when it comes to the rotation.
Yeah, that's a really good point. They'll get that intel on zone where it's going to be ending. Meanwhile, teams like Eco Esports are going to be all the way towards Down Beast, and it will be a far rotation from them. So expect Echo, the team that did a great job in game 2, taking first place, are going to have a really tough rotate in game number 3.
Optics here. Sniper.
That's what's coming, Andy.
Sniper ammo here.
All right, getting situated here. High Peak, one of our squads that have actually been able to not only pop off when it comes to some of this early loot, but they've also already found themselves in an early fight. Remember what you were mentioning before, it's the fight here in Antenna with the hotspot at stake. High Peak are looking to take this early fight already. The Seer is in their lineup when it comes to the team composition. It's BFG, wasting no time actually to contest this squad. Bitfix Gaming looking to get extremely aggressive, but they're already rocking all blue Evos. You can see Ascend in the backline too, looking for a third party. So a lot of early action started things off for game number 3 on Stormpoint.
Yeah, for those that didn't see it, High Point actually dropped just north of Antenna on the other side of the mountain. So there's a really fast rotate for High Point. I like that because they know it's going to be this Antenna finish. Meanwhile, the fact that Bitfix left Antenna means that Ascend will be able to get pretty much all of the Antenna POI to themselves if they decide to play big. But this 3v3 fight here, might just persist, might be a little bit of poking and prodding. These teams got to be careful here because a third party will be here, will be coming soon if they take this fight. So I'm really interested to see how High Peak and Bitfix, again, two rookie teams, not as much experience, how they play this. I think if you were watching Gaiman or KCP, they probably would have aped by now. But again, Watsons on both teams make it very, very hard to push.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, High Peak usually land in the beacon spot that's to the east of Cascade Falls, so they had to go here for a really quick rotate around just to situate themselves in Antenna. So with High Peak playing the Watson comp and bunkering down in this building, they're going to note that none of these squads are going to try to force their way in. High Peak noting that Ascend is around the corner with some shots already getting taken out onto Bitfix Gaming over on the other side, means that they're not going to push unless they see one of those knocks come out, as KCP also in an early fight against Navi. This is a huge early fight to have here between both these teams.
Massive. Team that performed in game 1 versus the team that performed in game 2 with a second place finish in Navi. Two historic teams, two former teammates, by the way. Strafey used to be on this Navi roster and org. This is a big one over in Wall. And by the way, over towards Command Center. And this should be pretty secluded because they're on the high side. Here comes the push wide right from Strafey. Here comes the Kansas City steam train as it looks like they're going to find the first knock. It's going to be a knock that comes through as well from Serdell on Kron. 2 knocks are ready for KCP. Last person will be cleaned up. The Ava 8 shots are going to connect, and Nasky's healing. So right now, Sanya's looking to make a play. He stays alive. He gets the knock on Strafey as well, but Dell is still alive, I believe, as Sanya will go down, and KCP win the clean 3v3 versus Navi.
That was still a really nice little skirmish, though, from Sanya. Playing off the knockdown shield, having the scary Eva 8 here, too. But you're dealing with KCP and the PK as well. So they're going to be able to come out on top after this fight, having that early KP. That means that Navi's the first squad to go down in this game, number 3. So remember, in the overall standings, they were sitting in 3rd place. Now this is going to be a huge dent to their game plan before moving on to World's Edge.
Switching back over to Antenna, where we're expecting this game to finish. We mentioned it and predicted Ascend to take the real estate here of Antenna, and that's exactly what they do. They took 2 buildings, center building and left building. Looks like they're going to all opt to basically turtle up on the lefter building here on screen. We got Heroes, the French squad nearby, and we have a team, I think it was the Turkish Stars, coming from Shipfall as well. So we have Turkey, we got France, and we got Portugal, all in a multinational battle here over towards Antenna. It's going to be an interesting fight, an interesting progression, but keep in mind these 3 teams are going to be content posting up. You're not going to see much action. This is almost like a Fragment East finish on World's Edge where there's so many buildings, there's so much real estate, and it's not the most wise decision to push with aggression. So expect this to slow down here. I'd love to keep an eye on some of our rotating teams. We saw, teams like Echo, who got a top 1 finish last game, have to rotate all the way from down Beast. Teams that are playing Edge like the Kansas City Pioneers and Alliance, really interested to see how they are rotating here in this Antenna finish.
Yeah, with them taking up this real estate, they're just looking to take their time. It's kind of like the Alliance approach that we've been noting a lot, but oh my goodness, the congestion on the east side of this circle is insane. You got Vexed out here, as well as Alliance already to their south. Launchpad is looking to get hot very quick, and we know that the transition between Launchpad into the western side from Launchpad towards Antenna, that choke point, there's little to no cover really there. There's that uphill battle from any of the squads that are waiting on the outskirts of Antenna, which could be an early rotate that could get easily sandwiched if they do stick there. So I'm interested to see how that plays out for some of these squads like Vex Gaming and Alliance that are taking their time and playing the edge of the circle.
Yeah, speaking of Launchpad, we do have Vexed and GG, Gaiman Gladiators, in a fight towards Launchpad. Gaiman Gladiators had to hit a pretty far rotation for them to be able to get over here to Launchpad. Meanwhile, the Vex squad drop in Launchpad, so really easy rotate from them. J Savage, Ro, and Digi from Forge, they are in. They drop in Stormcatcher. They're nearby as well on their rotate. Alliance, you saw on the map, made a really fast rotation all the way from Lightning Rod as well. So a clumped type of endgame circle. Horizon and Urban with the charge rifle here to do some damage, and we're gonna have ourselves a pretty slow early game to mid game here, Vicky.
Yeah, you see the charge rifle in the hands of Urban as well, just taking their time, like you mentioned before. They have a beacon to their backs, but not too sure if they were able to get that scan since we're not able to see where that next circle is going to be pulling just yet. Urban looking both left to right with the charge rifle to call out any sort of squads that are in the middle of this rotation, but they're keeping their backs to the edge of the circle where we could see some of these teams exiting out of Launchpad like we were talking about before. There is that choke point that could lead out of Launchpad to the side, exactly towards where Urban is aiming down his sides as KCP playing off the low ground. This is the squad playing on the outskirts of where Horizon's faced right now, and they have the positional advantage against KCP, but they still have that natural cover of the rocks.
Yeah, this is always such a tough fight, right? It's almost like a fortress that Horizon is sitting on top of right now. And even in, when you're playing ranked, when you're playing your games online, everyone's probably been here before. Rotating through when a team has complete high ground control and this unnamed POI, very difficult to do, but you do have a lot of cover to work with. I love the level design here in this area. The fact that KCP does have quite a few rocks and mountains and can make a somewhat clean rotation, but not a free rotation is the important thing. If you look, if they decide to rotate east, that yeet cannon, as we decided to call it, the launch cannon, is going to be their only piece of cover that they'll have on that rotate, but Horizon's going to punish them if they do try to do so.
I love it. The yeet kid. I mean, that's exactly. Ooh, Urban took a huge shot real quick. Hold on. He had to pop the Phoenix kit real quick as Ring 2 is going to be closing in behind their backs. See how quickly Urban was able to drop down from the high ground and immediately just went inside the building. Said, all right, hold on. You got that real quick. So what happens when you try to face off with the charge rifle? Sometimes people are out for blood after they see that you're using it.
Yep. Here's a G7 Scout, by the way. We talked about the fact that we'll likely see a good amount of G7 Scout here. Double tap trigger is still a purple loot as opposed to gold loot, so it's not going to be as rare. And 0-0, putting that G7 Scout to use. G7 in flatline. Meanwhile, it looks like they're going to drop and just try to extend a little bit. I like this decision here. I call it being on a leash. You obviously have a home base, but you're on a slight leash in which you can work with to try and get some damage, maybe break ice, get some intel, but then you have to work your way back to home base, which is exactly what he's going to do. Meanwhile, E6, one of our most aggressive teams, again, look at their kit. Red, gold, and purple shields to their name. They're going to push up here and a big fight's going to ensue. The damage gonna come through for K Swinny. He's gonna connect for at least 100. He's gonna crack one. Slayers gets the knock, but Trix is the last alive for Corpa. Trix finds himself a knock on K Swinny in that 1v1, but leaves himself, I believe, in a 1v2 against Leifin and Slayers. The knockdown shield is all he has. Goodbye to that knockdown shield. Goodbye to Corpa. E6 continues to be one of the best fighting teams, but here comes the third party. Great use of the lifeline Q to try and give themselves a heal over time, but it's not gonna be enough. E6 will be eliminated to the hands of Phoenix Legacy.
That was muted for a second right there, Follow. I was popping off because I saw the third party moving in right from the distance with Phoenix Legacy moving in. Are you kidding me? The timing for E6 in these fights cannot get any worse because they keep getting third party the moment that they come out on top. But this is even better news for the likes of Phoenix Legacy, because now they're going to be able to move in and look who got whiff of the fight. How dare you not invite us as KCP now move in on the action to try to contest Phoenix Legacy.
Hey, listen, never not invite Nasky to a party. This man has a life at the party here, as he's going to third party, actually make it a fourth party this fight. Dell going wide, trying to get angles, and they know that they have all of Phoenix Legacy stuck in Storm right now, just eating damage. And this is exactly the result. Half health or less for both. Imp is going to pop a med kit, and it's going to help, but KCP smell blood right now like sharks in the water, and they are fully kitted, by the way, so they'll just continue to gatekeep. All they have to do is do a little bit of damage and they will get the kill points as a result if they die to Storm. I don't know what Phoenix Legacy is going to do right here. Not much of an option. You got to try and fight this.
Here you see KCP now are going to be able to hang out, at least by the high ground for right now, but Phoenix Legacy playing on the outskirts of this circle are going to take a lot of damage, as unfortunately Imp gets taken down immediately. Hoodie's about to meet up with him without popping up the syringe in time. Now it leaves up to KCP to clean up Sabs, and it's Phoenix Legacy that get cleaned up. Looking at the positioning of where this fight actually went down here, though, Follow, I'm wondering where's the positioning for the other squads that are holding on the outskirts of the circle, because a lot of teams have already taken up the real estate in that choke point that we were mentioning before on the outskirts of antenna that lead out of Launchpad.
Yeah, that's right. Nice shot of KCP right there. It was Dell that broke ice. And then who is it? None other than Dell. One of the most aggressive, flashy keyboard and mice players in the game. Well played right there from Dell to get the first knock or two. Meanwhile, back in Antenna, well, pretty pleasant view. The exact same thing we saw before. Ascend, Turkish Stars, and Heroes still posted up. Echo is going to decide to actually take the bottom of this Oreo, 3-stacked layer location, and they'll be content holding this low ground. But obviously, it's a pretty tough spot because you're susceptible to line of sight from quite a few different areas. But given that these teams are going to be playing inside the houses, they should be fairly well poised. They're going to get the intel with Seer, and we'll see how they decide to play this.
See right now with Echo Esports, the winners of game number 2 now. See them walking to the car. Sentinels as one of the members dropped down. Oh, that was something
What?
that Heroes is going to regret. Are you kidding me? I'm not too
What?
sure if that was by accident, but that's just free KP delivered on a silver platter to Echo Esports.
You know, Wrath is a rookie, but, you know, that was quite a silly play from the Silly Rabbit and Wrath, and that's going to cost Heroes their lives and the game. Echo gets gifted on a silver platter a first kill. We don't know what the call was right there from Wrath and from Heroes, if they decided to ape or not, but clearly did not work out for them, clearly not on the same page, and clearly Echo is going to capitalize. That's huge, Vicky. This is the team that got first place last game, and they have a chance to pick up 3 more KP and a potential top 3 finish here in game number 3.
And they're looking to dominate the competition because look at this. Not only with the gold G7, I mean, Herald is having a ball. Turkish Star get eliminated in the feed. As you can see, these Senti shots landing at the same time. Echo Esports are feeding themselves, but they have to open up themselves a little bit as they traverse through that bridge. There's a little bit of open ground here too. Bardo taking a nice off angle though. I like this position, but they're playing off the low ground and they got to get moving now with the circle closing in.
Yeah, by the way, I correct myself from last game. HTP Herald was actually on Game of Drones in the past. I knew we saw quite a bit of HTP Herald as an up-and-comer in ALGS previously. Now playing with 2 new up-and-comers, Zuni and Bardo. Excited to see this team continue to cement themselves, if they can continue to cement themselves as a top team in EU. Some new blood here in year 3 of ALGS. Speaking of new blood, High Peak, Bavis, Fricks, and Young Hong Kong in the same exact position we saw them in that early game. We knew that Bitfix Gaming was also nearby. Meanwhile, Horizon find themselves in a fight against the Kansas City Pioneers. Look at this standoff, and guess who's going to try in third party? It's Jules & Co.
Oh, wow. Well, this is the positioning that you're risking yourselves, as KCP were here for a really long time, and they were fighting time and time again as the break comes in. The R301 from Sir Dell looking to continuously beam as Bitfigs do get taken out in the feed, as you can see by HP. Now, Pioneers are looking to force their way into this next circle. It does close in 50 seconds, but they're finding these cracks left to right.
Yeah, look how well KCP is playing this. I mean, this is the difference between top-tier teams in Apex and why you love Apex as a Battle Royale. It's the most consistent BR. People talk about RNG often in Battle Royales, and yes, there's an element of RNG in Apex Legends, but you see the top teams stay as the top teams for reasons like this. There's no reason that KCP should be the last team alive here. Horizon had the complete advantage, but they do such a good job playing third parties to their advantage and not letting RNG get the best of them, and KCP is the benefactor. They take out Horizon courtesy of some help from Game of Drones, and they will live to fight another day. We'll see if KCP can continue their consistency.
If they can force their way into that next circle at the very least, because they're playing off the other side of the rock that's behind High Peak, who need to start moving now soon. After this Phoenix kit does get popped, here comes the skyward dive. But where do you land when the circle is pulling out in the middle of the open? That's the choke point that we were highlighting before leaving Launchpad. And look at this, KCP, they're looking to take a fight right now here too. Artico in some trouble. You see the Newcastle ult as Nasky is moving in. He's looking like a shark with blood in the water.
A little pepper here and there with the Ava 8, connects for 6, 8, 12, 15, and guess what? A full squad wipe is Nasky and the Kansas City Pioneers. They are running through every single team in this lobby. It is insane how good Nasky, Strafey, and Dell, the trio, are. Look at the shots and the beams from Nasky. Take out one more as well on HP, on the rotate. They had themselves some shield swaps, and the Kansas City Pioneers, again, I'll keep using the steam train analogy for the Midwest org. They cannot be stopped.
Oh my goodness, and on the other side, you can see IG also gatekeeping on the other side of the mountain. Torhe in a lot of trouble here too, as KCP are looking to continue on the pressure onto the southern side of where they're situated. I mean, look at the graveyard of death boxes that they also got to work with. All the loot for everyone. You get loot, everyone gets loot, as they're going to be able to walk away with not only so much damage, but KP as well to their name.
And look at the position they find themselves. Very similar to what we saw in game number 1. What we saw ALGS champs over in Northpad is going to be this terrain low on stairs, Watson fences. You have yourself some line of sight cover in what is kind of like a bunker. Really good positioning for KCP, and it's in zone. So again, it's almost like a written script here, and KCP is proving me right. You talk about the consistency of this squad, despite having such difficult rotations playing edge. They find themselves God spot. They play so well. Not many teams can do this, and this is what separates the best from the good. KCP is proving that they are the best team in EU right now after coming off a LAN championship with Verhulst as a sub. They're looking just as good with their original trio, this Strafey.
Seeing them all together, the gang back together again with Strafe is always so nice. And look at the amount of mobile respawn beacons that they've just laid out, making up some makeshift cover as well. The EMP coming in and the follow-up. You want KCP to scoop things up. I mean, this is a buffet. They want to eat for free out here as they're not only out of the line of sight of a lot of the pressure, but they're playing the edge of the circle and they're still in that next circle. I'm looking at Ascend, who's going to also be rotating right before their eyes in their line of sight. You can currently see right now IG in a lot of trouble too. Huge thermite grenade actually taking down 2 members of IG International. And now IG International, they get cleaned up and we got 5 squads left for KCP to try to clean up if they have the opportunity, with Ascend now making their way into their left.
The Kansas City Pioneers are bullying this lobby right now. Look, they all have pretty much full health in this fight against Forge. And again, they're going to get a full squad wipe here. KCP with 6 kills to Nasky's name alone. At least 14 kills for all of them, I believe. They cannot be stopped. They are going to take out yet another team. Forge, goodbye. 4 squads remain. And the Kansas City Pioneers are sitting as the kings on top of this hill right now. Because guess what? Alliance and Ascend are fighting nearby. And KCP is going to third party again.
Oh no, this is gonna be free KP for KCP as Alliance get cleaned up. Now Ascend is already low as Game of Drones are also in a great position to move in for a third party. They gotta look to their left. That's where KCP is gonna be rotating from right now. Alliance going down. This is 3 squads left. You got Game of Drones, Ascend, and KCP left in the lobby.
That's right, Game of Drones versus KCP. Nasty's gonna get the first knock on Jules, and it's gonna be a 3v2. The Kansas City Pioneers have control, have high ground, and are just staring down at the rest of the lobby like absolute aristocrats on top of the Parthenon, looking at peasants below. Max Strafey connects for some damage, and he cannot be stopped. KCP on top.
I got the high ground now. Nobody gonna force them off here too. Well, they're just gonna have this natural cover right behind the wall. They're looking to clean up all the down players that they have in their line of sight. That's gonna be post kill right now as Ascend still in this lobby, maybe down to just a little lone rat, but you see KCP are moving in. This is the exterminator as they're gonna be able to try to get as much KP as they can, cleaning up Ascend. That just leaves Game of Drones versus KCP.
Later Ascend, 3v2 fight. I believe they did not get the res, but they may have indeed. So Game of Drones versus Kansas City Pioneers, and KCP is going for the kill. They swapped out their Red Evo shields for purple. Doesn't matter. They don't need them. Look at the damage, look at the shots, and look at the dub for KCP. They will be your champions of game number 3. What an absolute dominant performance from the Kansas City Pioneers. Wow.
Insane from their positioning to the KP that they were able to wrap up. I mean, that was a very spread out, elongated, very end fight.